Beloved soul, stop everything for one breath. Something in the unseen has been trying to reach you, and heaven is done waiting for you to notice. You're very late to this message, and yet somehow, right on time. Your spirit felt the pull the moment your eyes caught the title. That tightening in your chest, that wasn't anxiety. That was divine timing grabbing you by the heart and whispering, "Listen now." You've been walking through your days with that quiet, unspoken ache, pretending nothing is wrong, pretending you're not exhausted from holding everything together. You hide the tears you wipe in the bathroom so no one asks questions. You silence the questions that have been screaming inside you. But here is the truth. Heaven has been calling your name for days. You didn't hear it. You were busy surviving. But God did not stop speaking. Chosen one, you are not watching this by coincidence. You were summoned, pulled, redirected. Because the delay you've been feeling isn't laziness. It isn't failure. It isn't you falling behind. It's spiritual interference that has tried to dim your awareness and blind you to the shift happening in the atmosphere. And now God is saying, "Wake up, I want you here, right now." There is a message that was written with your name woven inside it, a message saturated with purpose, overflowing with divine urgency. And before you hear the deeper revelation, before the breakthrough season unfolds in front of you, you need to understand this. You were never late in God's plan, but you are late to what heaven has been trying to reveal. Listen to me. The delay ends tonight, for it is written in Isaiah 43:19. "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it?" The new thing has already started. You're only just waking up to it. And before we go any further, I need you close. Stay with me, because in a moment, we're going to cross into something that will realign your destiny, restore your peace, and break the heaviness that's been sitting on your chest for too long. If this is already stirring your spirit, beloved soul, pause for a second, breathe, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. Not for numbers, but because this is how heaven keeps reaching you when you drift. You don't even know how much you've needed that. Are you ready to hear what God's been trying to tell you? Chosen one, stay right here. Something in you already knows this next part is for you because the weight you've been carrying has not been ordinary. It has felt invisible, heavy, and strangely timed, as if it arrived out of nowhere. But listen closely. What you've been calling delay has not been random at all. It has been spiritual. It has been targeted. And heaven has been trying to break through to you long before you pressed play today. You've been living in a kind of fog, waking up tired no matter how long you sleep, feeling distracted even when nothing is happening around you, losing your appetite on days when nothing is wrong, sitting in silence because your spirit is louder than your thoughts, and you keep whispering to yourself, "Why do I feel behind? Why do I feel off?" Because something has been fighting to keep you from this very moment, and the Most High is saying, "Enough. The veil must lift now." There is a reason you arrived late to this message. You've been pulled in every direction, people draining you, responsibilities suffocating you, doors that should have opened staying shut, opportunities slipping through your fingers. Every time you tried to pray, your mind wandered. Every time you wanted to rest, something disturbed your peace. Every time you took one step forward, life threw three at you. But hear me. You were not losing. You were being intercepted. This kind of delay is not normal. It happens to chosen ones when heaven is preparing to realign their timeline. You didn't understand the heaviness because it wasn't emotional. It was spiritual resistance pressing on you, hoping you'd give up before you reached this moment of awakening. You feel that trembling in your chest right now, don't you? That subtle shift, that internal pull that feels like someone calling your name from inside your spirit. That is God saying, "Wake up. I'm restoring what was stolen. There is a divine purpose hanging over your life, and lately, everything inside you has been echoing with the same question. Why am I stuck? You've been waiting for clarity. You've been craving direction. You've been begging heaven to just show you the next step. But the truth is, God has already spoken. You just couldn't hear him through the noise around you. Chosen one, you've been carrying battles you didn't start. You've been fighting storms meant to push you into a new chapter rather than break you. You've been losing sleep because heaven has been stirring your spirit, trying to tell you something urgent. You are late to the message, but you are not late to your destiny. Your steps are still ordered. Your timing is still divine. Your purpose is still intact. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord." Even the steps you thought were mistakes were alignment. Listen to me. Your breakthrough season did not cancel itself. Your spiritual awakening did not skip over your name. Your abundance did not get lost in transit. Your destiny alignment did not fail to locate you. You're not behind, you're transitioning, but before the shift completes, heaven needs you awake. Stay with me until the end of this message, because the revelation coming next will explain the last 5 years of your life with frightening precision. And before we go deeper, if your spirit already feels this word touching places you haven't spoken about, like the exhaustion you hide, the fear you don't admit, the dreams you gave up on, then pause for 1 second. Subscribe, not for this channel's sake, but for your spirit's sake, because heaven has more to say to you and you cannot afford to miss the next calling. Now, let me take you into the part God has been trying to show you for too long. Chosen one, listen closely, because what I'm about to say will touch the places you've been too tired to explain. There is a reason your life has felt like it's been on pause. A reason you keep feeling late, even when you're doing everything you can to move forward. A reason the atmosphere around you has been heavier these past weeks, heavier than you've wanted to admit. You've been sensing something shifting, but you couldn't name it. You've been watching people fade, but you didn't know why. You've been losing interest in old habits, old conversations, old cycles. And you thought you were just burnt out, but you weren't burnt out. You were being pulled out. Heaven has been removing you from people who can't follow where you are going. And some of them didn't let go without a fight. That fight is what you've been feeling in your chest. That strange anxiety, that sudden tiredness, that confusion that comes out of nowhere. It wasn't your mind failing, it was your spirit resisting what was trying to cling to you. There is a calling over your life that you've been trying to outrun, not because you didn't want it, but because you haven't felt ready for it. Yet heaven is saying, readiness is not your responsibility. Awakening is. And chosen one, whether you knew it or not. You've been awakening. That's why your patience has grown thin in places where you once tolerated anything. That's why certain conversations feel empty now. That's why your body tenses around people who drain your peace. That's why you feel a holy discomfort in environments you once forced yourself to fit into. This isn't depression. This isn't disconnect. This is divine elevation trying to lift you higher than your surroundings can support. You've been praying for breakthrough, but breakthrough requires separation. You've been asking for clarity, but clarity requires stillness. You've been begging for abundance, but abundance requires capacity. God hasn't been delaying you. He's been strengthening you. Every no you heard, every door that closed, every person who walked away, every plan that fell apart, every opportunity that slipped through your hands. None of it was punishment. It was protection. You think you're late. But the truth is, if some things had happened earlier, they would have destroyed you. You weren't emotionally ready. You weren't spiritually grounded. You weren't healed enough to hold what you were praying for. And because you are chosen, God refused to let you enter a season that would break you. You've been frustrated. You've been disappointed. You've been fighting feelings of inadequacy. And heaven has watched you whisper, God, am I missing something? Yes, you are missing this moment where everything in the spirit begins to make sense. This moment where you stop blaming yourself for delays that weren't your fault. This moment where you realize you were not late. You were being aligned. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you." It does not say, "You know the plans." It says, "I know." You've been trying to understand what only God can see. Chosen one, do you feel that shift rising in your spirit? That slight burning under your rib cage? That subtle trembling in your hands? That's not fear, that's awakening. That's purpose resurfacing. That's destiny calling your name again. But hear me, before the blessing comes, before the elevation hits your life like a wave, heaven needs you to let go of one thing: the belief that you are behind. Pandas. Because that lie has been one of the enemy's favorite chains around your mind. If you believe you're behind, you stop moving. If you believe you're late, you stop trying. If you believe your time passed, you surrender your calling. And that is exactly what darkness wanted. But God says, your time is not past, it is beginning. You're not too old, you're not too tired, you're not too late. You're right on schedule. You felt delayed because the blessing was being built. You felt stuck because God was stabilizing your foundation. You felt lost because heaven was rerouting your path. And just when you thought nothing was happening, that was when everything was happening. The spiritual warfare around your life wasn't because you were weak. It was because you were dangerous. Chosen one, the enemy doesn't fight people who pose no threat. He fights those carrying generational impact. He fights those destined for abundance. He fights those born to break cycles. He fights those carrying a wealth mindset that could shift their entire bloodline. You've been targeted because you carry too much power to walk through life unaware. That's why this message had to reach you. Even if you arrived late, heaven needed your attention before the next door opens. And beloved soul, that door's closer than you think. I'm not done. There is a deeper revelation pushing to come through. Chosen one, let your spirit stay open, because what comes next is the part you are never supposed to miss. The very thing you kept feeling in your chest but couldn't explain, the very tension you kept calling stress, the very heaviness you thought was fatigue. Heaven is about to name it for you. You haven't been delayed. You've been under spiritual construction. And that construction has been loud, messy, uncomfortable, inconvenient, lonely, and strangely timed. There have been moments when you've sat in your room, staring at the wall, wondering why you feel so disconnected from everything you used to care about. Moments where your mind wandered into the future, only to hit a fog you couldn't see through. Moments where you started something with excitement, only to lose motivation days later. Moments where conversations drained you so deeply that you questioned if something was wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. Something is shifting in you. Listen carefully. When God is preparing a chosen one for elevation, He disconnects you internally before He disconnects you externally. He loosens the emotional ties first, then the physical ones, then the spiritual ones. That's why you felt detached from certain people, places, and patterns. It wasn't apathy, it was detachment. Heaven has been untangling you from everything that cannot follow you into your breakthrough season. And here's the part that will shake you. You didn't delay the blessing. The blessing waited for you to heal. You've been busy blaming yourself for being late, but here is the truth. You weren't late. You were being made ready. Do you remember those days when you felt a sudden urge to clean your space? Or those moments when you deleted old messages without knowing why? Or when you found yourself distancing from someone without a clear explanation? Chosen one, that wasn't you being inconsistent. That was spiritual pruning. Heaven has been clearing your atmosphere, because the blessing coming toward you cannot land in chaos. The abundance you're stepping into cannot be built on old wounds. The divine purpose over your life cannot operate in the presence of emotional clutter. The financial stability you're moving into requires a healed mindset. Your soul has been shedding weight it can't carry into the next chapter. And yes, shedding feels like losing. It feels like loneliness. It feels like wandering. It feels like silence from God. But it isn't silence. It's strategy. You've been standing in a hallway, one door closing, the next not yet open, and you thought the hallway was a punishment. But the hallway is where heaven rewires your identity. The hallway is where your discernment sharpens. The hallway is where your self-worth heals. The hallway is where you stop begging for love and start recognizing your value. That's why relationships have felt strange lately. That's why some people's energy suddenly feels unfamiliar. That's why your spirit tenses around individuals you used to trust. You're not being paranoid, you're being elevated. And elevation exposes everything that was comfortable with the old version of you but cannot coexist with the rising version. Chosen one, you've been praying for destiny alignment, but alignment often starts as agitation. You've been praying for personal transformation, but transformation often starts as discomfort. You've been praying for confirmation, but confirmation often arrives disguised as endings. Listen to me. There were things you wanted God to bless, but God couldn't bless them because they were too small for who you're becoming. You were trying to fit your calling into spaces that were never designed to hold your future. That is why doors closed. That is why people walked away. That is why suddenly everything familiar felt unfamiliar. You asked heaven for abundance, not realizing abundance requires room. You asked for generational wealth, not realizing generational wealth requires discipline. You asked for spiritual awakening, not realizing awakening requires separation. You asked for breakthrough, not realizing breakthrough requires breaking. Chosen one, you've been breaking, and heaven has been watching over every piece. Hear this. Your breaking was not a collapse. It was a clearing. You weren't falling apart. You were falling into alignment. Psalm 32:8 says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. God did not abandon you in the confusion. He guided you through it. But you didn't recognize the guidance because it came wrapped in discomfort instead of clarity. And now, the reason you needed this message becomes clear. You are not just late to the message. You were late to your own awakening. But heaven waited for you. Heaven preserved your place. Heaven held your blessings in storage. Heaven protected what belonged to you. Heaven kept the door open longer than you realized. You are not behind. You are being caught up. And chosen one, we are nowhere near the end of what heaven needs to tell you. There is a deeper revelation still unfolding, one that will explain the spiritual resistance you've been facing, the pressure in your chest, the sudden bursts of sadness, the strange dreams, and the sense that something unseen has been trying to get your attention. Chosen one, stay right where you are, because what I'm about to reveal next is the part your spirit has been aching for. You've felt this strange internal pressure for weeks, a tightness in your chest for no reason, a heaviness that comes and goes, a sudden wave of remembering old memories you thought you buried years ago. You haven't understood why these emotions rise and fall like tides you can't control. But heaven is saying, I am resurfacing what must be healed before the door opens. This is why your emotions have been unpredictable. This is why your sensitivity has increased. This is why your dreams have become more vivid. This is why your spirit has been restless, even when your body is still. You're not unstable. You're not regressing. You're not losing control. You're remembering who you are. When God is about to elevate a chosen one, He first brings to the surface every wound that would sabotage the blessing. Not to shame you, not to overwhelm you, but to heal you in the open so nothing hidden can contaminate your next season. This is why certain thoughts you haven't had in years suddenly returned. This is why old insecurities tried to whisper again. This is why you found yourself revisiting moments you thought were behind you, not to wound you, to release you. Heaven has been pulling out the last roots of trauma that would have bled into your breakthrough. You've been asking for abundance, but abundance cannot flow through a cracked vessel. You've been praying for destiny alignment, but destiny cannot rest on unstable foundations. You've been calling out for emotional healing, but healing requires exposure. And beloved soul, exposure is what's been happening every day you felt off. God wasn't punishing you. He was revealing you, to you. Hear me. There were fragments of you still living in old seasons, old patterns still replaying, old beliefs still whispering, old disappointments still shaping your decisions. You thought you forgave someone, but your spirit still tightened when their name crossed your mind. You thought you moved on from what hurt you, but your reactions betrayed a wound you hadn't faced. You thought you were healed, but your silence in moments you needed to speak proved otherwise. And heaven said, no more. Because the chosen ones cannot carry emotional residue into divine purpose, that unfamiliar sadness you felt out of nowhere. It wasn't sadness, it was extraction, that sudden irritation with people who once brought you comfort. It wasn't irritation, it was discernment awakening, that feeling of wanting to be alone even when surrounded by others. It wasn't withdrawal, it was spiritual recalibration. Listen, for months you've been thinking something is wrong with you, but the truth is, heaven has been restructuring you from the inside out, and that internal remodeling hasn't just shaken your emotions. It's changed the way you hear God, even when you didn't realize it. You've noticed it, haven't you? The small nudges, the inner warnings, the sudden clarity during moments of silence, the strange knowing that something in your life is about to shift. That knowing isn't imagination, it's prophetic sensitivity returning. You've been spiritually numb for a while because the battles drained you more deeply than you admitted. You were so busy surviving you didn't notice how disconnected from your own destiny you became. But now, heaven is waking up the parts of you that went dormant, and that awakening feels like pressure. It feels like restlessness. It feels like spiritual hunger. It feels like your soul stretching. Because you're not transitioning into a small season. You're transitioning into a defining one. This is why the resistance increased. This is why distractions multiplied. This is why your mind kept feeling scattered. This is why opportunities paused. This is why conversations drained you. This is why sleep didn't refresh you. The enemy wasn't trying to destroy you. He was trying to fatigue you before your awakening fully activated. But heaven stepped in. Heaven interrupted. Heaven rerouted you to this message even if you arrived late to it. Chosen one, you've been walking through spiritual warfare without knowing it, and the symptoms have been showing. Your energy dropping suddenly, feeling watched even when you're alone, waking up between 2 and 4 a.m., unexplained bursts of emotion, dreams that feel like warnings or instructions, sudden loss of interest in certain people, unexpected opportunities falling away, feeling God pulling you into silence. None of these were random. All of them were signs. Your spirit has been in training. God has been restoring your intuition, your discernment, your inner authority, your spiritual hearing. Because where you're going next, emotionally, spiritually, financially, requires a version of you that cannot be manipulated, drained, distracted, or delayed. And that version is rising. You feel it, don't you? The shift in your inner world. The push toward purpose, the hunger for clarity, the quiet urge to elevate your life, the desire to break every cycle your family normalized. This is destiny alignment. This is personal transformation. This is the emergence of your breakthrough season. But there's still one mystery you haven't understood. Why now? Why this year? Why this exact moment? Chosen one, the answer is coming. There is a reason heaven is speaking with urgency. A reason this message found you. A reason you couldn't shake the title the moment you saw it. Because something is approaching your life. Something heaven has been preparing for longer than you realize. Something that explains every storm, every pause, every delay, every heartbreak, every shaking. If you're ready, I'll take you deeper. Chosen one. Lean in, because what comes next is the part your spirit has been sensing, but your mind has not been able to articulate. You've been walking through your days with this unshakable feeling that something is building, something unseen, something pressing against your atmosphere. You can't name it, but you can feel it hovering around you, like the air gets thicker when you think too deeply about your future. That pressure isn't fear, it's proximity. It's the nearness of a divine shift that has been trying to break into your life. And every delay you've faced, every strange interruption, every moment of confusion or fatigue was not a sign that God forgot you. It was a sign that heaven has been rearranging your timeline with surgical precision. Listen to me. When God is about to release something massive, the spirit world reacts first. Your emotions feel it before your eyes see it. Your dreams sense it before your schedule reflects it. Your intuition whispers it before your circumstances confirm it. And beloved soul, you have been living in the spiritual echo of what is coming. This is why nothing feels normal anymore. This is why peace comes and goes like waves. This is why you feel unsatisfied with the things that used to comfort you. This is why the thought of going back to your old life makes your chest tighten. You're outgrowing the world you built in survival mode. Let me say that again. You're outgrowing what was only meant to hold you temporarily. The you that prayed through pain is not the same you that's rising now. The you that tolerated mistreatment is not the same you stepping forward. The you that settled for breadcrumbs is not the same you reaching for abundance. The you that doubted your worth is not the same you heaven has been rebuilding. And that rebuilding explains everything. Why certain people's presence suddenly feels heavy. Why you sense dishonesty even when words sound sweet. Why your spirit withdraws from certain invitations or environments. Why your dreams have been filled with symbols, warnings, or unusual clarity. Why your body feels different, like you're shedding old layers. You are being spiritually upgraded. Elevation isn't pretty. Awakening isn't clean. Transformation isn't gentle. It tears, it stretches, it isolates, it disrupts. It cracks open everything that tried to bury you. You've been asking God to accelerate your destiny, but acceleration requires a stripping away of anything that slows you down. That stripping has been happening for months, piece by piece, moment by moment, until your spirit finally reached a point where heaven knew you could handle the truth. And here is the truth. You were never late. Earth was slow, heaven was precise, and your spirit was waiting for alignment. Every time you felt behind, you weren't behind, you were being positioned. Every time you felt unqualified, God was sharpening you. Every time you felt disconnected from everyone, heaven was isolating you for clarity. Every time you felt restless, your spirit was responding to prophetic tugging. Look back for a moment. Think about the last year of your life. How many times did you feel a prompting to change something? Your habits, your circle, your routines, your work, your plans, but you brushed it off. How many times did you feel like something internal was shifting, even though nothing external had changed? How many times did you feel like God was trying to tell you something that you couldn't quite hear? Chosen one, heaven has been speaking. You just didn't have the spiritual bandwidth to interpret it, but now your spirit is catching up. This is why everything lately has felt urgent. This is why you keep hearing the same messages repeatedly. This is why opportunities paused only to circle back stronger. This is why you felt isolated and protected at the same time. This is why you feel like you're waiting for something, even though you don't know what, because something is coming, something appointed, something time-sensitive, something you cannot miss. And the warfare you felt, it was never about the present. It was about trying to stop you from being awake for what's approaching. The enemy doesn't attack where you are. He attacks where you're going, and Chosen One, you're going somewhere you cannot even imagine yet. Your next chapter is going to demand more clarity, more strength, more emotional stability, more spiritual awareness, more discipline, and more courage than any season you've ever lived through. That's why heaven has been stretching you, not to break you, to expand you, because what's coming will not fit into the old you. You feel that stirring right now, don't you? That sense that this message is peeling back the curtain on something you've been trying to understand for months? That sensation rising in your spirit like recognition. That's because this part you're hearing, this part right now, this is what heaven has been trying to deliver to you. But Chosen One, there is still more. There is a deeper layer behind the pressure, behind the confusion, behind the delays. A reason the resistance increased so sharply. A reason heaven urgently pulled you into this message today. Chosen One, stay with this, because the revelation that's unfolding now is the part that explains why the resistance intensified right before you reached this message, why everything around you seemed to slow down, tighten, or even fall apart. You've been blaming yourself for being late, but in truth, something didn't want you to arrive here on time. Something tried to intercept you. Something tried to cloud you. Something tried to distract you long enough so you would miss the moment heaven scheduled for your awakening. And you felt that battle in your body. You felt it in the days where your energy vanished for no reason. You felt it in the sudden waves of sadness that hit without context. You felt it when people you trusted suddenly turned cold. You felt it when your plans unraveled even though you prepared with excellence. You felt it when your spirit kept whispering, "Pay attention, something's off." Chosen One, you were not imagining it. You were being fought. But listen to me gently. The battle was the sign. The pressure was the sign. The exhaustion was the sign. The sudden silence from certain people was the sign. The emotional turbulence was the sign. The sense of divine urgency you couldn't shake was the sign. Something in the spiritual realm knew what heaven was about to release over your life, and it moved early to stop you from seeing it. That's why the warfare came before the revelation. That's why the storm hit before the clarity. That's why confusion crept in right when you wanted to pursue purpose. That's why your mind felt foggy right when your spirit was waking up. Because chosen ones don't just stumble into destiny. They must push through interference to reach it. And beloved soul, you've been pushing without knowing what you were pushing against. Let me tell you what heaven is revealing. There has been a tension around your timeline, a pressure around your purpose, a spiritual grip around your momentum, not strong enough to destroy you, but strategic enough to delay you. The enemy couldn't block what was coming, so he tried to make sure you wouldn't be ready for it. That's why these patterns formed. You'd start something with fire, then lose motivation days later. You'd have clarity at night, then wake up drained in the morning. You'd plan something meaningful, then get hit with unexpected distractions. You'd feel God speaking, then suddenly question everything. You'd sense breakthrough near, then feel life tightening around you. This wasn't inconsistency, it was interference. And the most dangerous part, you took it personally. You blamed yourself. You thought you were the problem. You thought you were undisciplined, unworthy, unfocused, unprepared. But heaven says, stop blaming yourself for a battle you didn't start. You were discerning enough to feel the war, but too tired to understand its purpose. And the purpose was this. Your spirit was Rub. On the verge of catching up on to heaven's timeline, you've been living under the weight of a calling you couldn't identify. You've been carrying spiritual responsibility without spiritual explanation. You've been walking like someone who sensed a door opening but couldn't see where it was. But look at your life in the last season. Why have you been losing interest in people who pull your energy down? Why has your spirit tightened around voices that once influenced you? Why do you suddenly crave peace over attention, clarity over chaos, purpose over popularity? Why have you felt an urge to detach from people who drain your confidence? Why has your intuition become sharper, quicker, louder? Because Chosen One, you are transitioning out of survival mode and into assignment mode. And assignment mode requires focus. It requires sensitivity. It requires emotional healing. It requires spiritual clarity. It requires a higher version of you. That's why heaven kept interrupting you. That's why you couldn't settle. That's why your old coping mechanisms stopped working. That's why your comfort zones became uncomfortable. Listen, you have outgrown places that still fit you physically but no longer fit you spiritually. You're too awakened to pretend you don't know better. You're too sensitive to tolerate what drains you. You're too aligned to keep shrinking yourself. You're too called to keep living quietly. You're too anointed to keep living small. This is why the pressure increased. Pressure always increases right before birth, before transformation, before elevation. And Chosen One, that elevation has already begun. Not coming, not approaching, not waiting. It has already begun. That strange restlessness in your spirit, it's not anxiety, it's expansion, it's growth, it's the stretching of your destiny. You feel it, don't you? Something huge is on the horizon. Something heaven has been orchestrating behind the scenes. Something that explains why you were kept alive, kept protected, kept hidden, kept uncomfortable. Something that explains why you needed this message today. But listen, you still haven't heard the deepest part. The part that will bring every unanswered question into focus. The part that will explain the last chapter of your life with painful accuracy. The part that reveals why you have fought so hard and what heaven is about to release. Chosen One, keep breathing, because what I'm about to reveal is the layer heaven has been trying to deliver to you for months. This is where everything starts to make sense. This is where your spirit begins to recognize the truth hiding behind the confusion. This is where the patterns of your last season begin to line up with frightening clarity. You've been asking, why did the resistance increase right when I was trying to change my life? You've been wondering, why do I feel watched, pulled, or pushed spiritually? You've been whispering, why does it feel like something has been trying to keep me distracted, tired, or numb? Here is the revelation. You are approaching a spiritual doorway. A real one, a rare one, a time-sensitive one. And the closer you got to that doorway, the more the atmosphere around your life tightened. Because the enemy cannot shut doors that God opens, but he can exhaust you so much that you never walk through them. This is why these things happened. Your mind kept wandering when you tried to pray. Your emotions felt unstable even on calm days. Your body felt heavier in the mornings for no medical reason. Your confidence dipped suddenly even though nothing went wrong. Your sleep became fragmented or strangely timed. Your hunger for purpose became stronger, but your focus became weaker. Your old fears tried to resurface out of nowhere. Chosen One, this wasn't just life. This wasn't just stress. This wasn't just burnout. This was interference designed to delay your awakening. You don't understand how dangerous you are when you're fully awake, fully aware, fully aligned, fully connected to your divine purpose. Your elevation threatens everything that was built to contain you. Your clarity threatens every force that fed off your confusion. Your confidence threatens every system that benefited from your insecurity. Your inner healing threatens every pattern that tried to repeat in your bloodline. This is why the battle intensified, because your spirit was stepping out of an old identity. An identity built on survival, on fear, on trauma, on overthinking, on self-doubt, on shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. And heaven said, no more. Your old self can't come with you. Your old wounds can't come with you. Your old patterns can't come with you. Your old relationships can't come with you. Your old mindset can't come with you. This transition has been painful because heaven has been stripping away the version of you that was never meant to carry your destiny. Listen, do you remember the past months when your spirit felt restless and unsettled? When everything felt like it was shifting but you couldn't see what was moving? That wasn't chaos, it was spiritual demolition. Heaven was tearing down the inner walls that trauma taught you to build. Walls that kept love out. Walls that silenced your own voice. Walls that made you believe you were too late, too broken, too ordinary. You've never been ordinary. You've been chosen, and chosen ones are always rebuilt differently. This is why isolation hit your life so strongly, because heaven didn't want outside noise influencing your next chapter. Your heart needed quiet. Your mind needed space. Your spirit needed permission to expand without interruption. That kind of spiritual renovation looks like loneliness on the outside, but is transformation on the inside. You are not being abandoned. You are being prepared. And now, let me take you deeper into the mystery that's been hovering around your spirit. Something you've sensed but could never fully articulate. You've been waking up with questions like, why does it feel like I'm waiting for something big? Why do I feel God pulling me away from certain voices? Why do I feel like something is coming, but I don't know what? Because, chosen one, you are standing at the edge of a divine appointment, a breakthrough that was delayed but not denied, a calling that was whispered but not yet spoken, a shift that was prepared but not yet revealed. Heaven has been guarding this moment. Your ancestors prayed for this moment. Lives connected to your future are depending on this moment. Your purpose has been orbiting this moment. This is not drama, this is destiny. And the strange heaviness you felt, it's not a burden. It's activation. Your spirit is catching up to the magnitude of what's arriving. But chosen one, there is still one more layer, one more truth behind the resistance, one more revelation that will explain why the enemy targeted your time, your energy, your clarity, your relationships, and your identity so fiercely. Chosen one, now that heaven has opened the layers of revelation over your life, now that the fog has lifted and your spirit is finally awake enough to hear, it's time for something even more important. Understanding is powerful, but application is what activates destiny. A word can shake you, but alignment is what transforms you. And God is saying to you right now, do not just hear this message, step into it. Because, chosen one, the shift over your life is not waiting for the calendar to change. It's waiting for your posture to change. You have entered a season where small actions will echo in the spirit, where tiny adjustments in your routine will open gates of clarity, where discipline becomes the key heaven uses to multiply blessings, where alignment turns prayers into acceleration. Listen carefully. These next steps are not random advice. They are spiritual strategies. They are instructions heaven is placing in your hands so you don't lose what is coming. Your spirit feels that, doesn't it? That gentle pull. That inner knowing that these next words are not suggestions, they are assignments. So, take a breath, and let me guide you through the steps heaven is requiring of you now. 1. Start your mornings with alignment, not anxiety. For too long, you've been waking up carrying yesterday's weight. You open your eyes already bracing for the next problem, the next responsibility, the next emotional battle. But your morning is a spiritual gateway. How you begin your day determines how clearly you hear God throughout it. When you wake up, before you pick up your phone, before you check messages, before you rehearse yesterday's worries, sit still for a moment. Say quietly, from your spirit, Lord, align me with what you released for me. Just that. No long prayer. No pressure. Just alignment. You'll feel the difference instantly. Your thoughts will soften. Your breathing will settle. Your atmosphere will shift. Because your day was never meant to start with chaos. It was meant to start with clarity. 2. Clean the spaces where your spirit grows sluggish. Your environment has been carrying old energy, old memories, old emotions, old versions of you. And chosen one, clutter in the natural creates clutter in the spirit. Heaven is calling you to cleanse your surroundings, not for aesthetic reasons, but because your blessing needs room to land. You can't step into a new season while living in a room that still smells like your old wounds. Clean your desk, organize your clothes, throw away papers you don't need. Erase old messages that keep you emotionally tied to the past. This is not cleaning. This is clearing spiritual pathways. You'll feel lighter, you'll think clearer, you'll breathe easier. Your intuition will sharpen instantly. 3. Protect your emotional atmosphere with holy boundaries. Chosen one, you can't keep letting everyone have access to you. Your spirit is too sensitive now. Your destiny is too close. Your breakthrough is too fragile to be exposed to draining voices. You've spent years being open to everyone, listening to everyone, carrying everyone. But elevation requires separation. Not because you're rejecting people, but because God is protecting you. Here is a painful truth. Some people care about you, but they do not care about your growth. Some people love your light, but they can't handle your calling. Some people support your healing, as long as it doesn't make you outgrow them. Your spirit has been warning you. Those sudden moments of irritation around certain people, those strange pauses in conversation, that heavy feeling when they walk into the room, that instinct that says, slow down, don't overshare. That's discernment. Honor it. Set boundaries quietly. Reduce access gently. Protect your energy intentionally. You're not being distant. You're being obedient. 4. Take one small but meaningful step toward the future every day. You've been overwhelmed because you keep looking at the entire mountain. But heaven is not asking you to climb the mountain today. Heaven is asking you to take one step. Just one. Read one chapter. Apply to one opportunity. Send one email. Organize one corner of your home. Write one page. Pray one intentional prayer. Movement is what activates momentum, and momentum is what signals heaven to accelerate you. The enemy didn't attack your life. He attacked your movement. But today, that breaks. Because now you understand what was happening. Beloved soul. Before I unveil the final set of practical instructions you need for this breakthrough season, I want to invite you to do something powerful. Write in the comments, I align with what God is building in me. This is not a sentence, it is a spiritual agreement. A contract, a declaration that heaven hears. Because the moment you speak alignment, heaven begins to rearrange the atmosphere around your life. And chosen one, now that your spirit has declared agreement, heaven can place the next set of instructions in your hands, instructions that will protect your blessing, strengthen your discernment, and anchor you so deeply in purpose that no delay, no distraction, no spiritual interference can pull you off course again. Listen closely. Your destiny is not activated by emotion, it is activated by habit. And heaven is calling you to build habits that match the weight of the future you're stepping into. 5. Guard your thoughts like a sacred temple. Your mind has been the battlefield. Every doubt, every fear, every spiral of overthinking, you felt them because the enemy couldn't stop your calling, so he tried to confuse your identity. But from this day forward, your thinking must obey your purpose. When fear whispers, respond gently but firmly. This thought is not from God. When shame rises, speak. I release what no longer aligns. When old insecurities try to return, remind yourself, I'm not the version they wounded. Every time you cancel a destructive thought, you break a spiritual agreement you never meant to make. Your mind must become a sanctuary, not a storage unit for trauma. 6. Pay attention to the pulls more than the plans. Chosen one, your destiny won't always arrive with logic. Sometimes it arrives with a gentle tug, a whisper, a strange desire to move in, a direction that makes no sense to anyone else. You've already experienced this. Moments when you felt drawn to a book, days where you felt led to clean a certain room, times when you felt an urge to distance yourself from someone, nights when you woke up at 2:17 a.m. with a feeling you couldn't describe. Those weren't random impulses. Those were instructions. Heaven doesn't always speak in words. Sometimes heaven speaks in nudges. Follow them. They lead to alignment. 7. Step away from anything that steals your peace. Your peace is not a luxury in this season. It is a weapon. Chosen one, if a conversation ends and your chest feels tight, that is information. If someone's presence drains you every time you meet them, that is revelation. If a situation constantly pulls you into fear, doubt, or insecurity, that is a warning. Peace is a compass. Peace is a map. Peace is proof that heaven is near. Stop forcing connections God is trying to release you from. Stop reopening doors His mercy already closed. Stop entertaining people who only love the weak version of you but feel threatened by the healed version. Protect your peace as if your blessing depends on it, because it does. 8. Give heaven something to multiply. Listen to me, chosen one. God cannot multiply what you do not offer. If you want financial stability, make one wise decision each day. If you want emotional healing, take one courageous step toward honesty. If you want abundance, build consistency in one area of your life. If you want your calling to expand, sow time into it, even if it's 5 minutes. Heaven multiplies movement, not intention. The smallest seed can unlock the largest harvest when it's planted in obedience. And you feel that fire in your spirit right now because you know this is your moment to plant. But before I continue with the final instructions, before we move into the prophetic activation that seals this entire section, heaven is prompting me to ask you something. Chosen one, does this resonate with your spirit? You feel the truth of it rising inside you, don't you? If you do, write this in the comments to seal it. I step into divine discipline. This simple phrase is an act of spiritual ownership. It marks the moment you stopped drifting and started directing. It signals to heaven that you're not just awakening, you're preparing. And beloved soul, we are not yet finished with part 3. There are still deeper strategies heaven wants to place in your hands, the kind that shift atmospheres, the kind that break generational patterns, the kind that open doors your family never stepped through, the kind that activate protection, clarity, and elevation over your entire path. Chosen one, before we step into this sacred prayer, pause. Let the noise inside you settle. Let every thought slow down. Let your breathing deepen. Because what we are about to do is not routine. This is not a closing prayer. This is an activation, a spiritual sealing of everything heaven has been whispering into your spirit since the moment this message found you. You've walked through revelation. You've walked through correction. You've walked through awakening. You've walked through alignment. Now, you will walk into agreement, and heaven honors agreement. Beloved soul, you have been carrying burdens no one knew. You've been fighting battles no one saw. You've been smiling while something inside you trembled. You've been holding yourself together even on days when your heart felt like shattered glass. But look at you. Still here. Still listening. Still breathing. Still fighting for clarity. Still reaching for God even when you felt late, tired, overwhelmed. Heaven sees that. Heaven honors that. Heaven responds to that. And right now, the presence of God is drawing near, not with thunder, not with fear, not with judgment, but with healing. The kind of healing that goes deeper than memory. The kind of healing that touches the parts of you that stayed bruised even after the world thought you moved on. Chosen one, let me guide you into prayer. Not the kind spoken from lips, but the kind spoken from spirit. Take one breath. Place your hand lightly over your chest and let us enter the courts of heaven together. Heavenly Father, the one who sees what eyes cannot see, the one who hears what lips cannot say, the one who feels what hearts cannot express. We come before you in this holy moment. Father, look at your chosen one. Look at the battles they survived. Look at the nights they cried quietly. Look at the days they walked with heaviness but kept moving anyway. Look at the moments they wanted to give up but didn't. You saw everything. Not a single tear was wasted. Not a single prayer was ignored. Not a single wound went unseen. And today, Father, we ask for your touch. Not the touch that comforts temporarily, but the touch that rebuilds. Lay your hand on the places where trauma left cracks. Strengthen the areas where disappointment weakened their foundation. Restore the dreams that fear tried to suffocate. Reignite the fire that delay tried to smother. Pour your light into every hidden corner where shadows tried to hide. Father, let this prayer become a furnace of healing. Let every broken place feel the warmth of your presence. Let every confused thought align with your truth. Let every anxious breath become steady again. Chosen one, breathe, slowly, gently, like your spirit is inhaling the presence of God. Now, continue. Lord, remove every weight I was never meant to carry. You've been holding too much. The burden of being strong for others. The silence of being misunderstood. The pressure of pretending you're okay. The exhaustion of trying to figure out everything alone. Let it lift. Let it loosen. Let it fall away like leaves releasing from a tree in autumn. Because God never asked you to carry all of that. He asked you to trust. And now we go deeper. Father, protect my steps in this new season. Chosen one, listen to me. Your next steps are sacred. Your next relationships are divine appointments. Your next decisions hold generational weight. That's why heaven must cover you. So repeat softly in your spirit. Guide my feet. Guard my path. Go before me. Psalm 32:8 says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. And right now, heaven is doing exactly that. But beloved soul, the prayer must go further. Because the attack on your life wasn't just to drain you, it was designed to assassinate your clarity. So now we pray, Lord, restore my discernment. Let every false voice fall away. Let every deceptive influence be silenced. Let every pretender be exposed. Let every spiritual fog dissolve. Let every inner compass realign to truth. And as you pray this, something will shift inside you. You will feel it, not in emotion, but in awareness. But chosen one, there is a deeper layer of this prayer we must enter. A layer that reaches into your future, your bloodline, your purpose, your destiny. A layer that seals everything you fought for and everything heaven prepared for you long before you ever arrived on earth.